Welcome to Umoja Voice, our monthly program with me, Marie Ndale.
With me, Joe Santiago.
With myself, Jackie Burnett.
Umoja means unity.
We as Africans need to unite to discuss solutions for us, by us.
We will be talking about asset-based wealth creation,
Youth empowerment,
wealth protection,
health and wealth, how they go together.
because your health is your wealth.
Welcome to our monthly program,
Umoja Voice. Sawabona, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is Umoja Voice coming to you from a UK radio in the UK. And we are here on our monthly edition. This is the second edition of Umoja Voice. My name is Ndale Nasa, and I'm here with my colleague, friend, sister,
Jackie Burnett.
Okay. All right. Hope you're all doing well. We are here this time to talk about youth empowerment. How do we empower our youth, our African youth, our youth in the diaspora? How do we empower them in building up our motherland?
Yes.
We will be joined today by Jose Santiago. Would ask him to introduce himself, and Magina. Here we go. Hello, brother Jose. How are you?
I'm happy and honored to be here. And hopefully, we can have a nice conversation. I am also part of Umoja Generation Wealth.
And Sister Magina, hello.
Greetings all. Thanks for having me. My name is Magina. I am also part of Umoja Generational Wealth, and I'm looking forward to being discussing our much needed youth empowerment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So thank you, everyone. Grand Rising again, and we are happy to be here to have this chat.
Indeed.
It is
needed.
Yes, it's a much needed chat, and we're having it, sending it out on the airwaves. Those who find inspiration from it, please join us in this fight that we have. As we just said, we are from Umoja Generational Wealth Organization, an organization that was created 4 or 5 years ago, and we have been doing lots of things, and our mission is to
Edify,
re-educate,
and to create 100,000, between 10 and 100,000 millionaires globally of African descent.
People of African descent, yes. And we have a lot of activities that we've been doing since our creation. One notable one was we went to Jamaica in February last year,
2024.
A wonderful encounter. And we're planning another summit, and we hope that the youth would be the ones to listen to the message, come, and we engage together, find out about our heritage, our African heritage, talk about spiritual awakening, because that is very important in our communities to have that awakening, to see that things are changing.
But
It's
first,
global change,
to know who we are.
and to know who we are.
Yeah.
First and foremost is to know who we are. So, like we said, we're talking about youth empowerment. Now, I read somewhere, and the statistics out there in the opening, that is by 20, the statistics are out there in the open, that by 2030, young African youth are expected to constitute 42% of the global youth population.
Wow.
So a big percentage of the global population would be comprised of African youth. That is a big number, appreciable number, and to empower them would be a great achievement.
Yeah.
Now, if we talk, what should we start by saying? How are the youth What are the problems that are faced by the youth which make it difficult for them to be empowered, our African youth?
I would say that we, the parents, and everybody sees that for them to be empowered, they need to travel. They need to get a degree, and they need to be academic, and then they need to come to the West.
This is what is the prevailing, yes.
And that is not correct. And there needs to be a conversation across the diaspora that everybody in the West wants a piece of Africa, but those in Africa and now Cubaland don't appreciate what they've got.
What we have.
We have.
Yeah.
We've got the land, we've got the minerals, and we've got the people.
Mm-hmm.
They want our people to work for nothing, and they want our land, and they want to charge us very pittance. Now, imagine if our young people gained the skills to add value to the minerals in the land. They would not be looking to the West to come to, because they would see prosperity and fulfillment in the land.
Okay.
And they would also be keeping their culture. They wouldn't have to be traveling and having to learn people's cultures, learn somebody else's rules, and all the trauma that comes with it. They would have the extended family around them.
That's right. Okay. Yes, and that is very important. Having the family around, that support.
Yeah.
It's very, we overlook it sometimes, but it is quite important. Sister Magina, any opening ideas on this topic or about empowering? What do we need to do to empower our youth? But before that, what are the things that stop them, that disempower them?
There's quite a few things that I think we need to go back to reviewing, and that's the first thing is looking at the educational system. How is the educational system supporting and serving them? Yes. What is the outcome? What is the aim of the current educational system? Is it providing the necessary skills that will drive the youth to move to the next step? So I think with the current educational system, the old archaic educational system, the Western educational system is not set up to motivate or to empower the youth to move from the UK or from Europe in terms of how they see the globe to Africa. It's very narrow. So that's one of the major problems. The other one is knowing thyself, is that the educational system isn't designed for our youth, because remember, the educational system is a Eurocentric educational system, so everybody will be placed in that box. Yeah. And without our help as parents, and if we're also not thinking beyond the current status, we're not going to be equipped to youth to move to the next level. So it's not just the youth, it's the support system that they're in. If that support system isn't vibrant enough or open enough and recognize the current status quo, the current system that we're in, neither one will be able to help each other. So it's like the blind leading the blind. So we can always go back and say, what's the problem with the youth? It's also what's the problem with the carer, the adults who are supposed to care for the youth.
Yes, thank you very much for that. Yes, that I completely agree with that. Africa's education system must be, and the programs and all of that must be reimagined. We have to change them fundamentally it has to be redesigned in order to nurture talent and skills and ignite that spirit in our youth where they're entrepreneurial. Now, this is not to say every African youth would become an entrepreneur. Well, we might go for that, but realizing that this is what we need. Some people might not be the entrepreneurs or managers of a business per se, but they would be able to contribute, to that entrepreneurial spirit by bringing in their resources. Okay, Jose, what do you think?
Yeah.
Empowering our youth.
Yeah, Yeah, well, I think you guys touch on many areas. And thanks a lot for that. First, to touch on the support system that both you and Sister Magina and Sister Jackie have mentioned, the support system.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I see the support system as being the bridge between who we are as parents or adults and the next generation. First of all, we need to ask ourselves, what do we want to leave behind? What do we want them to carry on doing?
Legacy.
It's like relay. Okay, we've got the baton now. We want to know, or we want to define at what stage we pass the baton and what kind of baton are we passing. So this is where I place the support system in, and honestly, I believe that it is very crucial. Picking up on that same support system, obviously the education got a massive impact. Yes. Starting from us, it's not just the youth who need to be educated. We ourselves also need to be educated one way or the other for the youth to really inherit any education or anything which is going to be beneficial to them. So I took some notes here, how to empower the youth. Okay, teaching them or helping them with entrepreneurship, fine. For example, helping them to be managers is also fantastic. But it does encourage my son or my daughter to go and do a PhD in Eye of a Fish, or about the Roman Empire, or about the British Empire, or about English literature, where I've got gold, I've got mineral, I've got diamond, and the guy coming from Germany to come and polish it. So again, we need to focus on how education, if there is an education, was going to be beneficial to us and to the thing. So the youth, for us to be able to encourage them to be present at you what they are. So just before I conclude this part, is just to say that there is a disconnection as it stands now. There is a massive gap between us and the youth. So therefore, that is actually, in my opinion, the cause of many issues, including some youth not even having direction, let alone knowing what to do.
Yes, completely. We agree on that. Yeah. And so we're talking about this top-down system of education curriculum where getting a university degree or is what is pushed forward. And we know that in Africa we face many developmental challenges in food security, in the healthcare, sustainability, infrastructure. And so that teaching methodology and learning methodology needs to be geared towards applying, identifying problems that we have in this developmental, in the different developmental stages, and providing not just the theory about these things, but providing real experience, real solutions for the youth for them to find solutions to these problems rather than just looking at things at a theoretical level.
The application.
The application of it.
Application.
Now, in doing this, though, I think we have to consider as well the financial implications of this.
Indeed.
Yes, because many of our youth, a lot of them in the African countries, many African countries have got this degree, but they don't have, they want to be empowered, they want to use the talents that they have, but they need that financial support. So how do we square that with the needs of the youth?
I would say the needs of I think number one, as Sister Magina and Brother Jose has been saying, we the parents, the extended village, need to do the teaching, and we need to be clear what is need and what is want.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us don't understand because of how we've been conditioned by the West. We don't understand what the difference is. And therefore, once we understand the difference between needs and wants, we'll be able to concentrate on the needs. So I know what is the skills. I remember my mum talking about the skills the elders used to make sure in the Caribbean, so that the children had skills where they could get jobs. So if they didn't took their books, if that wasn't for them, they had a trade.
The trade.
Yeah,
Yes,
they had a
yes.
trade where they could build from. Some of them stayed as self-employed, but some built businesses and worked with others. Those sort of things. Since traveling, we've concentrated a lot on the academic, but not on the trade. And even in this country,
in the UK,
it's a struggle to get a good tradesperson, because we concentrated so much on the academic. And that's the sort of thing where we need to be understanding to make our children resilient with trade. So no matter what happens, they can feed themselves.
Yeah.
And that for me, trade skill, not an office skill, not doing admin. Because being a manager is another level of doing admin.
Yes.
Yeah? And I think that's what we need to do, we first.
So yeah, that is very true. And so that calls for a partnership between the private sector and the public sectors, the stakeholders in these industries. For example, if you had a program where the youth are taught, for example, if you had an agricultural a course, the children are taught in the classroom the theory about things, and they go now. The school or the training facility is associated to an industry, to a farm where the children can go and get practical knowledge, see what the problems are, and try to provide solutions to them. That's where UGW, our organization, it's one of the things that we promote.
Yes.
That is, we partnership with institutions, with different bodies which can come together to facilitate this. So the children, the youth are learning about things, but they have these practical application of their knowledge. Okay.
And if you put it today, so given all what's going on in the world, if the young people couldn't get their online clothes,
yes,
do they have the skills to survive? Can they free sew for females? Can they read a pattern, a dress pattern or a print, and make their own outfit? That's what their grandparents used to be able to do. These are survival skills, because you always can put clothes on your body.
Yes.
All you need is a piece of cloth. You can do that. And that, for me, I would say, male and female, because you're always looking for a good tailor. Yeah, but we're not encouraging, and those who still have those skills are so far and few between. And then when you're looking for somebody to teach you, where are they? So these are the sort of things I feel we need to bring value back. If we valued it, we would not lose it.
Yes.
So we need to value it. Thank you, sister.
There are a lot of sole traders, or people who work in silos. So you have your little business and you have your little, customer base and things like that. But if you had the skills, you are very good at the sewing, which is the example you have used, then you can teach others.
That's it.
And get apprenticeship and get other people, and then they open brands, and then because that's how we have the brands that we have in the West. It's one person teaches, but then we have to grow that kind of thinking of our youth, not just the small business sole trader type of things, but big things, because we have the resources, we have the minerals. Sister Magina, Brother Jose, anything to add to that? Speaking about partnerships and linking higher institutions of learning or training, workshops or things, linking those with industry so that the youth can be taken from just from the classroom into the real world.
Sister Magina, you can go ahead. Go ahead, sis.
Okay. As you were talking, Sister Ndale, I was thinking about the book everybody's now is on everybody's lips. Sustainable Development Goal 2030. And I'm thinking, well, why do we need to wait till then? And also, whose agenda is the 2030 sustainable development, and what does sustainable mean? I think sustainability development, sustainable, to be sustainable means that you have to be able to be in a position where whatever it is you do,
yes,
whether it's in the environment, whether it's collective, it doesn't, you do way that it benefits the present generation, but it doesn't have an impact in the long run on the next generation. So that's where I think we need to be. We need to be thinking about that as we approach and as we deal with the community, is that it's about sustaining with legacy. It's about sustaining. So it's not about, for me, it's not about trying to connect the youth to the to large companies. It's about how can they start from where they're at? How can we nurture them so that they can create something? Once they create, then we support that. So then now in their responsibility to the environment, they're not only supporting that, they realize that whatever they do, if it's negative, will impact the next generation. So that's my approach to what I think how we need to work with the youth and how we need to build the youth so that then they become self-sustainable.
Yes. And that brings to mind Ubuntu principles, which we as our organization, we really think about them, the principles. Also, I am because you are. Yeah. What I do affects you. So if I create a business, I have to think, how is my business, apart from it being sustainable, how will it affect the next person? How will it affect my family? How would it affect the community at large? How would it affect the continent? So we have to think about those. Brother Jose, were you going to say something?
Just a couple of things here.
Yeah.
First of all, I think we need to demystify education. And the reason why I say this is because, remember, education was, as we know it, was created to train people to do a job.
For jobs.
For example, before the proliferation of universities, it was to train people to be in field plantation. So you needed to have knowledge of agriculture, to take care of sugarcane, etc., etc. When there was, after the Industrial Revolution, now you need people to work in office, you need people to work in factories, you need people to do. So this is when they to create mass, education. People from the office, from the field plantation to office plantation. Okay. So we need to demystify that. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have the issue for many generations to come. Because we need to also remember that the brands that we talk about, great, they're graduated, university graduated, great majority. By them, but the great majority of inventions and brands never been created by people who attended the university and spend all this time there. So this is the first point I wanted to ask to start thinking about, really, about the education and how it can be applicable to the reality. Yes, you said, you mentioned for us to be able to forces and people who got the enterprise, and then allowing the youth to come and do kind of apprenticeship or whichever way it is, so therefore they can go and do that. I personally believe that as long as we continue to have the big corporations there, they will have that learn enough and know enough to create a brand to them. I don't think this is where they would never put that in that line. So I think, yes, coming together in Ubuntu fashion, do it in a sustainable manner, I totally agree. But to do the other is about the survival. Remember that the agriculture that we is majority, for example, in the continent today is for survival. So nobody wants a flashy cars, big fat house. And agriculture doesn't allow us to do that. Why? Because the cash crop is controlled by the big corporation. And if you're going to grow vegetable, you barely can feed your family. So nobody wants to do that. And we need to change it. And well, at least start thinking a way of changing that, because while the cash crop is there, there's no chance of us putting any other agriculture there, which is gonna help us. And finally, we are very focused on that, to find ways really of empowering not just the youth, but empowering us as people. And one of the things that was mentioned is that we're going to go to Santo Tomé this year in August and help youth, the empowerment of youth. For example, the business symposium is going to be there. They can come. They don't need any university degrees. They don't need any university qualification or whatever. Just come with your ideas. Come with your what you are doing or what you want to do, and have a conversation with the people, real people who are there doing it day in and day out. And some of them been doing it for 30, 40, 50 years. And that can help that youth to get. I can only be successful if I go to university. But guess to work for somebody, and then that the so-called prosperity that you're talking about. And there will be feel that we need to connect. For example, we need to connect to our culture. We need to connect to our history. We need to connect our language, our rite of passage. Because if we don't do that, then we always feel that knowing history, Roman history, or learning about some fancy science is the most beautiful thing, because it empowers us, while our simple agriculture would be the one which is going to take us to the right place. So we need to have a very uncomfortable conversation now, because going to any parent now and tell the parent, oh, you know what? Talk to your child and ask the child what is better. Be a baker. Why is he going to study accountancy? For what? If he can be a baker, let him be a baker, because he can be good at, and he's going to be productive. If you can be a bricklayer, so we need to remove that title, Mr. So which degree and C and so on. So we need to demystify that. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of our youth continue to be lost, as unfortunately many of us are. I hope this helped a bit.
Yes, it does. It does. Or social media influencer or something like that, when you don't produce anything. Anyway, that's very controversial there. So targeted investment. So we see the youth, see their talent, their skill, and invest in that. Not this blanket thing of opening a big corporation. Now, because that example that I used, what I made mention of the industry is really for practical purposes. For example, if you are teaching about medicinal plants in Africa, and you need to get hold of some of the traditional healers who have knowledge of these things, and they come and talk to the children, rather than this black listing of or calling them witches and all that. So it's that conditioning that's been happening for so long.
But some of that is about we, the adults, valuing. Because a lot of people in the UK will know about Mary Seacole.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's somebody of Jamaican heritage. Yes, she was mixed, that provided assistance in the Crimean War for the British.
Yeah.
But she was a herbalist.
She was a herbalist, yes.
She was a herbalist. She understood the herbs that she used the herbs to treat wounds, to treat the soldiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't use pharmaceutical medicines. She used nature.
Yeah.
And I think that's also about we having a more open mind
Valuing what we have.
And valuing nature, because if we value nature and learnt and understood the healing that is naturally there, we would walk along. And she learnt from her mother. So that's about our children and people walking along us and learning our skills. So apprenticeships is not just about the money, it's about the time. Do we spend the time? So if I'm busy and I'm the mother, is there somebody in my wider village who can spend the time to train my child in what they're interested in? Because that's what I remember that happened for the Caribbean community that came over when some of the youth them I was saying on the guys, they would go and spend time with an uncle that was in the trade, whether he was a builder or a mechanic,
carpenter.
and from that they learnt the trade.
Yeah.
But that has lately I was asking on a WhatsApp group, anybody
knows?
No, is there anybody in the black community that people know that has a business that builds, that could offer time in the different trades? And I got silence.
No answer.
Nobody knew anybody. So these are the sort of things, but we have to value our culture and value our skills, which is why I brought up Mary Seacole. And that bit about Mary Seacole is not really expanded on about the herbalism. So I hope people go and do, it's valuable.
Yes. So, a lot of things, a lot of indigenous knowledge.
Indeed.
That it's just so many. And some people, they say, oh, well, all of it is oral. Or, oh, if we take the case of the medicine, oh, we don't know the dosage of things. No, it's because over the years, over the millennia, that has been disregarded and looked at it negatively, that we don't see. Because childbirth, for example, women in African societies didn't used to go to hospitals to give birth, and the children would come out, would be delivered, and the doulas, and as some of them are called, and they had wide knowledge of how to do these things without going to no medical school. So we should value what we have and then instill that in our youth, so we learn about it.
I just thought about it. I remembered when I was young, they call it now aloe vera.
Oh, yes.
In every Caribbean household, there was a plant called we called it single Bible. Single Bible.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And our parents used to say, oh, what's that? Oh, it's single Bible. What do you use it for? Well, you could brush your teeth, wash your hair, and all that. And then when it got understood, the benefits of it, it got mass produced.
Yes.
Yeah, but people used to go, oh, what's that? Yeah. Then they realised the benefit. Yes. You get so, and other people will value. We allow other people's narrative, and then they take it over when we already had it.
Yes.
And that's, for me, is the key. We must understand all of ours and the value of it. If we value it, we won't let it go.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes,
Sister, just one more thing, just following on what Sister Jackie just mentioned. We need also to know, well, not know, but it's a fact that most medicine which come in form of tablets and all of those things, they come with the extract of plants. Majority of them are of plants. So the what we call natural medicine or so is not that far. What we unfortunately have is that the pharmaceutical,
they put it,
this, monopolize this and so, and create, well, not mafia, but a kind of a cartel, which are wiping out also called the traditional medicine. Everybody knows what happened with Dr. Selby, and the list goes on. So I don't think, I'm fairly sure we need to recognize that even the tablets that we take most of it are made, or at least they say,
You have
are made with the extraction of
off
plants
from
and things like this. So this is something that I just want to add to complement what you said, sis.
Thank you,
Yes,
Papa.
thank you very
thank
much.
you,
Thank you. And somewhere along there, when you were speaking, Brother Jose, you mentioned our summit, because we are getting to the
Yeah.
end of our chat
Session.
here,
Yeah.
and so yes, we are organizing a summit to in the Paradise Islands of San Tome,
Unspoilt.
unspoiled, untouched islands of Sao Tome and Principe,
Yeah.
and we're doing that in July. Brother Jose, could you remind
No, it's
us what
August.
August? Sorry, so where did I go with July?
August.
August, on the 6th of August, from the 6th of August to the 14th of August.
Yeah.
Could you remind us of our website, the contact details, so that anyone who's interested to find out more about what will be happening, because this
Yeah.
is a face-to-face summit meeting, and what you get, the experience that you get, the things that you see, the things that you feel in face-to-face meetings are totally different
Indeed.
from Zooms
Zoom,
and the
yeah,
other
Teams,
forms of
Google Meet.
Yes, those are they're valuable. They enable a lot of people to get together at one time. But the experience that you get, what you feel, what you experience face to face, and
Yeah.
it's totally different. And we are focused on that ancestral knowledge for us to come together to find out about our ancestral knowledge, spiritual awakening, healing, and business. Talk
Yeah.
business. So, Brother
Yeah.
Jose, could you tell us what's our
Yeah.
website again?
Well, obviously, as you guys know, I'm from that island, so I've
Yes.
got triple interest, not just interest, but a bit of emotion. Being able to welcome you all back to that small little corner.
Yes.
Uh, Island, and it's going to be 6th to 14th of August this year. And for everybody, to what you just said, sis, if you wanted to connect to people that would be pretty much difficult on a normal thing, because we are bringing a lot of speakers out there. Some of them may be difficult for you to find. It would to help in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of connection and all the rest of it. So the website, for anybody who wants to connect, register themselves, is https column / summit, which is SUMMIT usewealth, which is UGEWEALTH.com. So summit.usewealth.com, and to send us an email to registration at usewealth.com or booking at summit.usewealth.com. Well, it would be nice to hear from anybody who wants to more information about Summit.
Yes, yes. So, and to that end as well, we do have a lot of webinars that are planned
Yes.
from this month to that time, which will be talking about the experience, what will be happening in Sao Tome, and on the website we do have the link to to those webinars, so you can come along, find out about what will be discussing there, and our youth especially, we want you all to come and listen and gather knowledge and interact with business interests and business people, so that we can in our own small way contribute to the development of our motherland.
Yeah.
Right. Is there anything else anyone on the Sister Jackie or
No,
Gina want to add before we round up this discussion, this conversation, we like to say?
no, I just want to say that there's a saying, Regina will probably know it, one hand can't clap. So it's
Yeah.
only by coming together.
Yes, in Africa we say one eye cannot tie a bundle.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so you need that hand to hold whatever you're tying and this hand to tie. You see?
And
So it's the same thing.
So we
same-
coming together
Yeah.
and learning and keeping an open mind and not be fixed. We will be edifying, we will grow. But
Yeah.
growth is never without its pain.
Yes.
But that's my
You have
bit
to go.
today. Yeah, and we need to. Our youth is our precious, our future.
It is.
So we
There-
need to
yes.
protect them.
Yes.
That's me done. Thank
That's
you.
the asset. I
Yeah.
know we talk about the assets that Africa has with the natural resources, the land and everything, but the most important asset is the youth.
Yes.
Is the youth. And so we have to develop it. The youth, we have to nurture their skills and they're the future.
We need
And
to
they're-
protect them.
We need to protect them. Any last words from Gina or Jose?
Thank you very much for inviting me on to discuss this important matter to do with elevating our youth. I'm thinking about, as you were speaking, I'm thinking about the medicinal plants and how if the youth were to visit over in Sao Tome and come and look at the beautiful fauna and flora and meet some of the indigenous healers and get an understanding of plants, they may find that they have a skill or an affinity with plants.
Yeah.
And I think that this is something that would be a great healing, not just for the youth, but also for our elders.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. I hope the listeners can find a message in what we spoke about today and the need and the drive to take the next step.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sister.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
Jose.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to for inviting me to come and be part of the conversation. Just to remind the viewers, if they can, the webinar is going to start. The first webinar is going to be on Saturday, this Saturday, and then we're going to have a webinar every fortnight from there. One of the webinars is going to be visit the center of the world with the Arikana. Another one is explore African spirituality with Joshua Maponga. Another one is that visit the with the Mut Rosa. So there are things that will actually bring. There is entrepreneurship as well and businesses summit webinar. So please join us in the webinar and we'll join us in Sao Tome in August because that would be fun. It would be fun. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you very much, listeners, viewers from everywhere listening to us. Africa is the land of promise. It's the land of opportunities, and it's a land of investment opportunities as well. Natural resources. We have the political, the geostrategic positioning of Africa. It's very important. So now it is what it is, and we have to take advantage of the change that is happening and do it for our youth. Thank you very much for listening to Umoja Voice, and my name Indalele Nasa. Thank you for being here, and
Jacqueline Burnett.
thank you very much, and see you at the next episode.
Bye.